Okay guys, this is Math 1, Week 3, Day 1. Okay, so these are the worksheets that we will be working on. Solving absolute value inequalities. Okay, so for your first problem that you do on your own, you have absolute value of negative 4n is greater than or equal to 8. Okay, so you're going to divide both sides by negative 4, okay, in both problems. When you divide by a negative, you have to flip your sign, okay? So you can see that the signs are flipped. And then you have to do test points. So the test points are on the difference. I put the green arrows so you can see that they're on the other side of the points and then one in the middle. Okay, so in this case you would have 3 test points. It doesn't have to be these exact numbers. It just has to be on the outside of the points and then one in the middle. Okay, once you get your test points, you're just going to plug that in. Okay, so n is gone now, and for the first test point I put in 3, and then you solve for that. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, which is greater than or equal to 8, which is false. And then you put in your 0, do the same thing, and then negative 3. Okay? Let's see. Let's move on. So, and then, in the corner here, you can see that you do the equation. So you have to do it for the equation on the left, and then you have to plug them in for the equation on the right. So that's what's on the bottom there, is that I did the same test points, but I had to do it for the second equation too. Okay, so this is number 4, and you're going to do the exact same thing. Here you aren't dividing, you're adding 1, okay? So you're rewriting the equation. The first one is r minus 1 is greater than or equal to 5, and the second one is r minus 1 is less than or equal to negative 5. Okay? Then you solve, plug in your test points again. And then for, let's see what I have on the bottom there. I'm a little confused. Okay, let's skip that and I'll come back. I might have posted or pasted something in the wrong spot. Okay. So number 5, we have 4p, absolute value is greater than or equal to 20. Okay, so you're going to divide by 4. It's a positive, so you don't have to flip it. And then you can see the pink is where the test points are, and those are the numbers you're plugging in to both of the equations. Okay? For number 6, you have absolute value n plus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. So I rewrote the problem, right? You can see it in red and in blue. And then I solve for n, okay? Then put it on the line, and then do your test points. Okay, and I drew arrows on where test points should be. For the next one, the same thing, okay? You can see in purple the first equation, in red the second equation, and then put in your test points. Okay, so the test points you're plugging in for A. Okay, for number 8, you rewrite the equation, okay, add 3 and solve, okay, and test points, okay, plug them in and solve. Okay, for number 9, same exact type of problem. So to get rid of that 5, you're subtracting 5 from both sides, solving, and then you'll see the open circle on the right of the line, and that's because there is no line underneath. It's just greater than, it's not, or less than, it's not equal to. So when there's no line under the greater than or less than, then you just leave the circle open, okay? And then you have the test points at the bottom, okay? And number 10, same type of problem, okay? So you can look that over. The circles are open on this one. and 11. This one you divide, okay? And on this one you only have 2 test points because the lines are connecting, okay? So you only have to do on the outside of the dots, okay? Number 12, again, same. So you're just practicing this, okay? So on this one, you do have 3 test points that you need to plug in to solve, okay? So basically, you're just writing -5 minus 5 is greater than or equal to 5 for the first test point. Second test point, you're just plugging in that 1 for the n. 1 minus 5 is greater than or equal to 5. And so you're going to do that for each equation, okay? All right, let's try to do day 2 since we went through that pretty fast, okay? So this is what day 2 looks like. Now we're graphing, okay, and shading. Okay, so let's review how to graph a line. So when we graph lines, we use the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. The m is your slope, which means your rise and your run, okay, and I'll go over that. And b is always your starting point, okay? So if we look at y is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2, the minus 2 is your starting point, okay? So you can see I'm going to go to -2 and put a dot. Then I'm going to rise up on that green, where I have it squiggly green, okay? So I'm rising up 3, and then I'm going over 1. Even though there's no 1 underneath that 3, if it's just a number, then you always go over 1, okay? Put a dot there, and then connect your line, okay? It's a solid line if it has the line underneath it, okay? If it doesn't, then it's going to be a dash line. Okay, so to find the shading is you have to do test points, okay? So find test points on one side or the other of the line. So we plug these in, okay? Whoops. So let's test -2 and 4, okay? So -2 and 4 is up here, okay? So when we plug that into this equation right here, we get a true statement. Since it is true, shade in the area on the side of the line you tested. So that's why we shaded that in, okay? Okay, so again, we're going to plot our line. Okay, start with -2. This time you're going up 5 over 4, put a dot, okay? Then let's test 0, 0, because it turns out that that's actually the easiest way to go with these, okay? So you can see I just plugged in 0, 0, and I got a true statement, so I was able to shade in, okay? On 4 here, we're going to do the exact same thing. You can't really see the shading that well, but you can see the lines I have there, okay? So that's where you shade, okay? This is 5 and 6. So again, you started at -4. So I circled it blue. And then you rise 3 and go over 4. Put a dot, connect your line. And then the shading, after we plugged in the 0, 0, you can see the shadings on the top of the line. And number 6, we plot our line. So start with -1 in blue. You're going to go up 1, over 1. And then put in 0, 0. And we found out that this was false, so we did the opposite, okay? Instead of shading in the top where 0, 0 is, we put it on the bottom, okay? Okay, for number 7, we start at 5, we rise 10, and we go over 3. We draw our line, and then we test 0, 0. It's false, okay? So we're going to shade in the area that's not at 0, 0. Okay? For 8, we start at 1, positive 1. We rise 5, and we go over 4. And we tested it. It's true. So we're going to shade in where 0, 0 area is. Okay? All right. For 9, we have, we start with 3. Okay? In blue. I don't know why it's sort of off the line there. But anyway, we're going to go, oh, I know why. It's positive 3. Okay, I got confused with that blue dot there. Okay, so you start at 3, which is at the top, okay? And we're going down 5 over 1, okay? So this one you go down because it's negative. Then you test 0, 0, so plug 0, 0 in for y and x. Okay, so 0 is less than or equal to 3. True. Okay, so you shade that in. All right, for 5, we're at plus 5 at the the top of the quadrant. Okay, so at top of y. Okay, I think I accidentally put it down first, so just ignore that. So at the top, and then you're going to go down 4 and over 1. Test 0, 0. It's false, so we're not going to include the 0, 0. 0, 0 is right where it crosses. So you're not going to shade in that area. You're going to shade on the other side of the line. Okay, this is provided in your packet by your teacher, so you can double check to make sure that you've done it right and I've done it right. Okay, this is the key. Okay, you want to make sure that you show the work. That's why you're watching the videos if you need to, because the teachers are going to want to know that you actually did it. Okay, let's go to day 3. This is what your worksheets look like for day 3. Okay, more graphing linear inequalities. Okay, so it says graph the line. So the dot 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 or the slash 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 is for less than or greater than, and the solid line is for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Okay, so it says shade in one side. So how do you do it? You use 0, 0 that we have been using. Okay, you're going to plug it into the problem, and then you're going to ask yourself, is it true or false? If it is true, shade in the side at 0, 0. If it's false, shade in the other side. Okay, so this is the same as you have been doing. Okay, so we have y is greater than x minus 1. So I just put zeros in for y and x, and then I am looking to see if it's true. It's true, so I'm going to shade in the area that includes 0, 0. And you're going to do that the same for number 4, okay? And we have 5, so you could see, so this one's actually easier because they've graphed the line for you, okay? Or actually, they haven't, okay? You have to graph the line, okay? So I'm actually using a separate sheet, but yours is going to look like this, okay? So you're still going to have to do the line, okay? So like for number 3, you're going to start at -1 below 0, 0, and you're going to go up 1 over 1, okay? If you have any problems with graphing the line, please let me know, okay? So after you graph the line, then you're going to do this, okay? So again, you're just plugging in that 0, 0, seeing if it's true, okay? For number 6, it wasn't true, so we did not shade in the area that had 0, 0. Number 7, when we plugged in 0, 0, it was false, so it didn't include 0, 0. And then the next one, 8, okay, after you graph your line, you'll see it's true. And then 9, okay, and then here is your last one, okay, for day 3. Okay, so for day 4, it gets a little bit more challenging. I got pretty confused, so. Example, graph the solution to the system. Y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. And also y is greater than negative 2/3 x plus 1. So you have two inequalities. It says step 1, graph the lines. Okay, so the lines are graphed. So it says the first line is solid and the second is dashed. And remember, it's dashed because it doesn't have the line underneath it, okay? Step 2, test a point in the first inequality for this example. Okay, so they used negative 4 and 5. So they plugged those in. Remember that negative 4 is your x and 5 is your y. So it's easy to get those mixed up, okay? But you can see here that they put the 5 in for y, and then they put the negative 4 in for x. Okay, so you're going to see, oh, is that true or false? Okay, it's false. Because the inequality is false for the test point, go back to your graph and shade the region not containing the points. So they shaded the region that did not have those points, okay? Number 3, test a point in the second inequality for this example. So now you can plug in the 0, 0. Okay, this was also false. Because the inequality is false for the test point, go back to your graph and shade the region not containing the points 0, 0. Step 4, the solution is considered the region that has been shaded twice. Okay? This can get really confusing, I know, okay? So your worksheet looks like this, okay? Or worksheets, there's 2 of them. I put them on the same slide, okay? So let's go through, actually there's 3 worksheets, okay? So if we look at number 3, it's your first one, okay? We have y is greater than or equal to negative 1/2 x minus 2. And I put green so I wouldn't get confused. And then the next one I shaded blue, okay? So I did the test points for negative 5 and minus 3. You could see I put a green dot there, and it turned out false, okay? So I know it's not, the shading isn't going to be on that side of the line. And then I did the same thing for the blue, okay? And I used the 0, 0 on that one, and it was true. So I knew it was going to include 0, 0, so I shaded in that area. Okay, see how I put no and yes? Okay, I know this is challenging. I actually had to go over it several times to understand it, so if you're struggling with it, it's okay. Okay, we could practice more when we get back to school. Okay, so for this one, again, I've done the same thing, okay? So you're graphing your lines, okay? And then you're plugging in those test points, okay? So for like the first one, I'll come up with some numbers, like I put negative 5, I think it's negative 5, I can't read my own handwriting, and yeah, and negative 1. And then I figured out, oh, it's true, so I know that's going to be shaded there. And then in the pencil down there, you could hardly see it. I did 0, 0, and I found it was false. So I know it's not going to include that where I put the F, that's false. So it's not going to include that. Okay, so for the next one, you notice one of the lines is dashed, okay? And that's because it's just less than, it doesn't have the equal to, okay? So you're going to put your line in there, and then graph your other line, okay? Then do your test points. So I did negative or 2 and negative 2, and put that in, and it was true. So I know it's going to include those points 2 and negative 2. And then I did 0, 0 was false. So I knew it wasn't going to include 0, 0, 0, 0. So okay. So for the next one, you can see that they both don't have a line underneath them, so they're both dashed lines, okay? And you can see the test points that I put in, okay? The first one came out false, and the next one came out false. So I knew that it wasn't going to be in those areas, okay? For the next one, we have one dashed one, and then we have another solid line, okay? So the first test points I did was 1 and 1. I put those in, it was false. And then I did test point 0, 0 was false. So I was able to find the shaded area. Okay, so for the next one, I did the test points, okay, so you could see the green ones on one side, the blue on the other, and you could see when I found out they're false, I marked no, no, to remind myself that that won't be shaded, okay, and where they intersected, I was able to shade. For this one, whoops, you have one dashed line and one solid line. Okay, and you can see the test points. And the test points don't have to be these points. They're kind of like, oh, test points means you're going to try something. You're going to try, okay, to see if it's true or false. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the same. So I saw that it was false on both of them, so I was able to find the shaded area. Okay, so for the next one, same thing. I did the test points. I got 2 faults, so I was able to write no in those sections and then find where it was. Okay? Okay, so this is actually our last day. I'm going through this pretty fast, so if you need help, please let me know. So these are your worksheets, okay? And this is pretty much more of the same thing, okay? So you're graphing your lines, okay? After you graph your lines, you're plugging in test points, okay? For number 3, it has y is less than or equal to 1. That's just a straight line, straight blue line, okay? So you only have one set of test points, which I just used 0, 0. So that one was pretty easy. For number 4, let's see. I don't know if I got lazy or I got distracted, but you see where the pink is? That should all be shaded in, okay? So I must have got distracted, but I'll show you at the end what your teacher is giving you as your key, okay? So for the first one, I have test points, okay? And then for the second one, I just use 0, 0. And the same thing for number 5, okay? So you're just doing those test points. Okay, this isn't too clear. Let's see. So you can see the green lines dashed and the blue lines dashed, okay? You can see the test points. And then over here, both lines are solid, okay? And in this one, I was shading those because I was trying to remember which ones I shouldn't be shading. So just ignore the pencil. I think at some point it was getting kind of confused, so I started doing that. But you just worry about the shaded in pink, okay? Okay, so basically you just keep doing the same thing. You could see the test points to see if something's true or false, okay? And these are the last 2, okay? So graphing your lines, shading in the area that is true, okay? And then let me show you this. This is in your packet, so you want to double check, okay? So this is how your graphs should look, okay? When you're all done, this is how they look. But what you really need to focus on is making sure you are writing your test points and solving your equations, okay? Okay, so this for me was confusing. So I'm imagining for some of you it will be too. It's okay. Just get your work done, turn it in. There's always time to go back and practice some more. If you have questions, though, you know how to contact me, jdenver@selmausd.org, or if you're one of my kiddos, just text me and I'll get back to you. Okay? Have a good day. I hope to see you guys soon.